Now we move back over to the policy section and we're looking specifically at app policies. So these will be those policies involving where your end users have authorized those various third-party applications, or they've authorized those OAuth tokens there. There's going to be 3 different out-of-the-box policies that are ready to go. First one here, looking for any critical risk unsanctioned apps. Great policy to have turned on to keep an eye on those more high-level access applications that are going to certainly have a lot more access into things overall there. Below that is a VPN and explicit apps policy. Really good policy, does a great job of keeping a close eye on those potential VPN or especially those explicit apps. This one won't be turned on by default, but very easy to turn on there and get set. And then lastly here is going to be one called abnormal permissions-email. So this one here is looking at a lot of different app categories, anything from games to dating to shopping, really any category here that doesn't need to have high-level access specifically into end users' inboxes here. So for example, the ability to view and manage email messages and settings, read, send, delete, and manage email, send emails on a user's behalf, things of that nature there. And with this, if you do decide to go ahead and turn on remediation, very simple here. There's 2 different types of remediation. There's going to be revoke access, which is going to go ahead and break those OAuth tokens there. And then there's going to be warn user here, which is going to go ahead and allow you to send out a warning message to the end user. Generally speaking, with most applications, it's a case where if you went ahead and broke the tokens initially there, it probably makes sense to go ahead and set it to revoke access, so the platform will keep breaking those permissions on a continuous basis for you. You really don't have to dive in and do anything additional there. And then you'll see here the notify user, notify admin options available as well too over on the apps policies. Now when it comes to app policies, there is a lot of further customization and custom policies that can be created depending on your needs there. So one of the approaches you can take with applications are setting policies by the name of the application. This is a really handy feature and can be extremely useful. So instead of having to worry about app IDs and things like that, if you know the name of the application here, you can grab it from the list. Applications that exist in your environment are going to be found, generally speaking, in this list here. So you can go ahead and type in the name of it, grab it from the list here, and then when the platform sees that application by its name pop up again, regardless of what version it is, so if they're on iOS, Android, doesn't matter, as long as it sees the name of the application, it can go ahead and continuously break those permissions. So really handy if you want a more targeted approach to app policies there. You'll see here it defaults to exactly as. Generally speaking, that's what I would stick with, but there's a couple different options as well too available when it comes to app name. With app category here, this is going to be those various app categories. This is where, for example, you could set a policy up around game applications. So you can then focus in on an entire category of applications, a lot more broad approach to app policies there. Below that is going to be the scope categories. This is the actual overall APIs themselves. We don't tend to use this as often, but it is an option that is available there. Below that is going to be scope. This is going to be a lot more narrow, and this is where you can focus in on things, for example, with permissions around email. So here you can see that view and manage emails, messages, and settings permission that we've run across a couple different times here. That would be an option where you could set a policy to just monitor any kinds of applications that have that level of access. So there's a lot of flexibility that way with the scopes as well too. Email is just one example. You could certainly look at Drive, access into Drive, Classroom. There's a whole number of different areas there, and this is going to be the more narrow permissions here. The trust section here is where it's going to be applied based on risk, so you can have the policy only apply to critical, high, medium risk level apps there. And then this unsanctioned apps section here is going to be referencing that list of registered apps there. So this is where you can register the list of sanctioned apps. So then this is going to say, hey, any new applications, if they haven't been already pre-sanctioned, go ahead and break that OAuth token there automatically. And this one here below is going to be registering, going to be drawing from that list of registered unsanctioned apps there. Looking at the usage here, this is where you can have the policy apply to a specific user, a group, or even an OU. If you leave these fields blank here, they're just going to default to all users. And you also do have the option to either choose to include or exclude with either the specific user, group, or OU as well too. And if you do click into any of these fields, it will go ahead and auto-populate with your groups or your OUs. If you start typing in an account here, you'll see that the account will start getting pulled up as well too. So very easy to quickly set up those policies. Again, a process we're happy to assist you with. Make sure that those policies are running as well as possible there. And once you've done that, you can go ahead and click apply. And then again, you'd want to navigate down to the bottom and make sure you saved any of your changes that you'd made there. So that's going to be the app policy side of things. Next, we're going to move over to the Gmail tab and talk a little bit about what we're looking at when it comes to email there.